Thank you everyone for coming to the webinar today about how to establish, grow, and sustain your campus liaison team. My name is Eric Ambroso. I'm a member of the Division G Graduate Student Executive Committee, and I'm also the chair of service for the campus liaison group at Arizona State University. I'm here just to moderate and provide technical support. As we move along, please share any questions or comments you have on the chat. There's a chat function down below if you're new to Zoom. So I'm gonna pass off to Evelyn and Sarah, and they're gonna share a little bit about themselves.
Hello, my name is Sarah Alvarado Diaz, and I am a fourth-year student in a Learning Literacies and Technology program, PhD program here at ASU. I am a fellow being funded by the Office of Special Education, as my research is focused on special ed identification, precursors to special ed identification, specifically how teachers refer students. So Division G Campus Liaison Program was established by Dr. Alfredo Artiles. He is a graduate dean of education here at ASU and also the Brown Lecturer, Keynote, for this year. And Tasia Gonzalez, Dr. Tasia Gonzalez, University of Wisconsin at Madison. And now I will pass it on to Evelyn.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Baca. I am a PhD candidate here at Arizona State University in Educational Policy and Evaluation, focusing on issues of multilingualism and multiculturalism in K-12 education. And I have been a part of the Division G Campus Liaisons here at ASU for 4 years now. We are a small but growing chapter. We have about 7 members currently, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about how we have managed our chapter over the last 4 years.
So we'll start with a little video from Dr. Alfredo Artiles and just about the importance and the purpose of the Division G Campus Liaisons. And then Evelyn and Sarah will both share some tips with everyone.
Division G Campus Liaison Program was created during my term as Vice President of Division G, 2008 or 9, if I recall correctly. The biggest inspiration that we had at the time was that we wanted to expand the participation of Division G members throughout the year. One of the biggest concerns I had with the AERA was that it was centered very much into the annual meeting event. So the main point of contact among members was this one time of the year in April or March, when 15,000 people come together for an exciting week, and then we're gone for the rest of the year. There are, of course, communications, newsletters, etc., but we wanted a more dynamic and thriving community in touch beyond the boundaries of the annual meeting. So the campus liaison was explicitly designed for students because the student population at AERA is the most active, the most enthusiastic, the most engaged of all members. It was the fastest growing segment of the membership at the time. And I thought that it will serve this function, that it will be maintaining and building a thriving community of scholars. That was one. The second one was that there will be a socialization / mentoring component to do that. The idea was that each campus will bring together students and they will find their own resources to define the agenda of activities, all revolving around issues of the study of the social context of education. So they will come up with things like research groups, lecture series, communities of support that will meet regularly, They will map assets in the area, at the campus or in the region. And the idea was that each campus liaison will develop a network over time, regionally first, and then including larger portions of the country. And that way, we have a process of building synergy within units, in this case, universities, and then at the same time, spreading good practices as they learn about what was happening in one campus liaison next door within the same city, maybe another university, or the next state. But the socialization mentoring component was critical for the functions of this program. And equally important, we wanted students to own their own process of socialization, to be able to engage and be active members and shapers of their own future professional development. And the response has been incredible. We have quite a few numbers, and the current leadership can give you an updated number of campus liaisons. But I was very excited. The one at ASU where I work has been very active, and they have become leaders at the national level. And I hope that it will evolve into something even bigger. A couple of additional thoughts about the Campus Liaison Program. A key goal for this initiative was to empower students to create their own communities, as also a means to grow membership. So the idea was that students will recruit other students and faculty, for that matter, to join Division G. The idea was that we will spread the word that the social context of education at AERA was the third largest at the time of all the divisions. And it was growing. The interest to study social context was increasing, especially in the younger generations. So it is critical that the Campus Liaison Program also is seen as a tool to grow the community of scholars interested in the social context of education. But that means that the campus liaisons need to get a set of organizing principles driving their work, that they need to think about how do we organize our structure in this group. That you need a membership person, you need an officer in charge of communications, you need somebody in charge of the budget, and so forth. So the idea is that you really systematically engage in the effort to grow enrollment in meaningful ways. And secondly, to leverage resources. You have faculty, you have headquarters with information to membership. You can ask, as a member of the Campus Liaison Program, who are the members of Division G at your campus? How do you invite them for a social event? What are they doing? Can we find speakers among the people who are members of this division? Do they have grants that they can use demonstrations of data analysis that are relevant to the study of social context of education? Do they have partners in other universities that can be used to grow connections in those networks? So approaching this whole effort from a networking, leveraging perspective is critical, but you need to know your assets, and that means you need to be collecting the data systematically over time to know who are the members, what are they doing, what are their accomplishments that can benefit the group. The first step is to go to headquarters and get that data from them about who is a member in your campus. And then from there, you start building relationships, which is what the whole thing is about.
Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how we have grown and sustained our team over the last 4+ years here at ASU. First, touching on recruitment. So one of the primary ways we have approached recruitment historically has been through one-on-one recruitment. So it's a small world, and we approach friends or friends of friends who we know in the graduate community at our college study similar things or have similar interests. And so that's one way that we've approached it. And it's definitely an effective way because it adds that personal touch of you personally inviting somebody to join your group. Another way we've approached it is through visiting classrooms. So at the beginning of the semester, there's always methods courses or seminar courses that all the first-year students are taking. And we have gone and visited those courses, explained who we are, what we're about, what the responsibilities of liaisons entail on our campus and invited participation that way. We have also sought to expand beyond our college, and we have attended campus-wide graduate student events. So they do host here on ASU's campus an event for graduate clubs. We attended that event. We met a few students that way. And it's a great way to approach expanding membership across disciplines, especially here at ASU. And I'm sure this applies to all institutions where there is a lot of crossover between different departments and colleges with the Division G kind of goals and research areas. Another way we have approached recruitment is through setting goals. So we have set yearly goals of how many members we think we should be able to add. We have set event goals for how we're going to approach recruiting members at events. So that's another way we approach it, is at our events, we announce who we are, and people who are there might be more interested in joining as a liaison if it's something that if they're a graduate student. And so we set goals. For example, at our last meeting event that we hosted, one of our goals as a chapter was for everybody to bring one new person that may be interested in joining, but was definitely interested in the event. So that's how we have approached it. And there's other ways that each chapter can creatively embrace depending on their unique context. Another area of growth for us over the last 4 years has been resources. So we applied to be an official club at ASU, which opened up the door to a number of possibilities. Previously, we were only able to host events in rooms that our sponsor had access to, and as an official club at ASU, we were able to request any room in our Memorial Union and other buildings on campus, and there's no fee for student clubs, whereas if you're not an official student club here, there would be a fee for renting a room. We did have to go through an official process to apply to be a club, but on our campus and on most campuses, it's not a super complicated process. It usually involves an application, making sure that you have an official faculty sponsor. And then here at ASU, we had to write a constitution, an organizational constitution, that if other chapters were interested in applying for official club status at their universities and they need an example constitution, we would be happy to share. Another benefit of being an official club is funding. So our Graduate and Professional Student Association provides funding to graduate student clubs, and we have used that funding to predominantly purchase refreshments and snacks and food for the events. You do have to go through a process of justifying your budget, applying for those funds, but when it comes to graduate students, it is worth it, because when you think about it, it's also a recruitment tool to have free food and snacks at events with students who are on campus for many times, hours at a time. So having some food or a place for them to meet other graduate students and grab something to eat and learn about something new is always a perk. On our campus, we also have organizational sponsorship. I'm not going to touch too much on that, but it is important that once you're an official club that you attend all the meetings about the resources available to new clubs, because a lot of times there's different resources in your community that would provide sources of funding for your organization. And we have tapped into those funds, and we had to start a bank account to keep some of those funds there. So these are all things that if people had specific questions, when they get to that point, I can share my information and someone could email me and I could share about those details and how we went about that. And then we have, of course, had many students graduate and new students come every year. So the way that we manage passing the torch is typically through pre and post year meetings. So at the beginning of the school year and at the end of the academic year, we hold meetings where at the beginning of the year, we talk mainly about goals and the calendar that we're going to plan. And we do have a template that we use that I would be more than happy to share. And on that template, we basically outline all of our events for the year. And Sarah's going to talk more about that in a minute, but we also have a post meeting. And at our post meeting, we talk about our roles and who's graduating, what people are interested in for the following year. And so, for example, we have developed chair roles. So we have a chair of finance, a chair of recruitment, a chair of social media, a chair of community service, communication, and we have co-chair roles, who this year are Sarah and myself. And so at those meetings, we kind of just discuss which roles individuals are interested in taking in the future as it grows. If there could be, a voting process of some sort, but right now we don't approach it through voting. We just approach it through which roles are individuals interested in. And we haven't, and we've even had some people do co-chair roles, so that one student can shadow another student. So maybe if a student is a fourth year and another student is a second year, then the second year shadows the fourth year and sort of learns the ropes. And then when that fourth year graduates, that individual can take on that chair role or, another chair role that they're potentially interested in. And one way we also manage this is through our Dropbox. So we have Dropbox folders dating all the way back to the first year. It was established in around 2009. So you can go into our Dropbox and see every year different templates of events and calendars and liaison information, all within this Dropbox folder. So it's a wealth of information. So nothing is lost to the next group coming in. So that's one thing that I try and really discuss in our pre and post meetings, is make sure every flyer that we draft and everything we do goes into that folder, because the future liaisons are going to use that and draw from that for their future events and planning. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to pass it over to Sarah to talk more about that, exactly that, events and planning.
Okay, so I will be talking about the development and implementation of the program. So kind of a rundown of our entire year. So we typically have two types of brown bags that we host. The first is our annual, repeated brown bags that can happen even if you don't have other brown bags. I think just having those two would really encourage students coming into a place like being in a PhD program and being a part of AERA. And one of them that we host every summer, most summers that I've been here, is writing a winning AERA proposal. And we will typically host that one during the summer months, right around the time when submissions are due. And this year, for example, we had one of the faculty members from here at ASU who was happy to present on, she's been successful at submitting proposals, and she gave a really neat presentation on applying this theoretical perspective of how the submission process works. And so that was very useful, and we ended up doing a follow-up session on, we actually came in, and the people who attended that brown bag actually came in and we shared proposals with each other. That was a very useful process, that part wasn't planned out, but it was really useful that it was kind of a follow-up to that meeting. And the other one that we host is getting ready for AERA. And basically our plan is to host that one around the time when decision letters or notices are sent out. And so we get together, we discuss the new location for the upcoming AERA conference meeting. We discuss hotels. We discuss just the process of being there. And also it's an opportunity to encourage students to become members of Division G. And so it's a really helpful process. And that actually it's a PowerPoint that we just use every year. I've been hosting that one. I've been kind of leading that one because it was passed on to me. And so I just change out the location, and we change out obviously a few logistical things for the upcoming year. And so that one can happen every year, and we don't have to change a lot for logistical reasons. You just change very few things on the PowerPoint. The other type of brown bags that we host are more of changing brown bags that are mostly based off of student interests and topics that can change per year. I've been here and I've attended on all sorts of topics, from writing a winning CV to, or, you know, developing a winning CV to participatory action research, different topics. And so this year, for example, we have, those are more that are based on off of opportunities. And we had a new library system here at ASU. It was challenging to many students. We hosted that and it was very useful to other students. So, and that can change every year, because obviously every year we don't change our library system. The point is it's shifting and it's based on opportunity. The other one is that we'll be hosting this coming year is ethnographic methods. So that was somewhat interest based off somewhat of group interest. And so we'll be inviting you know, different faculty members from the university and across the country who would be interested in speaking on ethnographic methods. So those are more of based on interest. The other component of our activities, not so much a brown bag, but our activities, are community events. And I think we started the year that Eric, it may have been an idea that Eric thought of to, or maybe it was a few of us, but Eric kind of was leading that to host community events. And so those are also based off of opportunity. This year, for example, support for Houston schools, because the events that have taken place this year, those are unexpected, obviously. And so those are a way that we thought we could give back to the community. And so depending on where your campus looks like, it may be from 2 brown bags to 3, 4 different activities, including brown bags. And so, and I think we would be okay with sharing, for example, some of the example flyers that we've created, going into logistical, you know, some tips for logistical things. And then our getting ready for AERA PowerPoint is something that we just change very few things on for each year. So those are some things that you could do to help develop and implement the program. So using the same flyers, just changing key information within the Dropbox, as Evelyn shared, that all members have access to. Shared docs, we can get a lot of things done that way. And then the last piece is, so some of the faculty member connections that I think Dr. Artiles went into a little bit in his video that I thought would be important are also ways to implement programs and to develop your program. So he is my advisor, and you know, if he's my advisor, we have a member who has a faculty member or an advisor or somebody who is an expert in such an area, a particular area, well, that student would be your network or your connection to say, hey, come on over, we'd like to invite you to host a brown bag on this topic. And so I think that, as he said, the idea is that as students, we kind of pull in faculty members and say, you know, how can you support us and how could you help us, you know, grow, or could you share your knowledge or your expertise on this topic or whatnot. So the faculty member connections are somewhat of a logistical tip, because if I'm connected to an expert in the field, then I can kind of pull that person in to present on the topic. And I think that's it. So I will hand it over to Eric.
And now we're going to open it up to anyone with questions. Let's see, I'll check the chat. There are no questions in the chat, but if anyone has questions, go ahead and unmute and feel free to ask Sarah or Evelyn questions about anything. Or if you have any comments, we'd love to hear any comments you have.
Hi, my name's Katie McCabe. I'm from University of Wisconsin.
Hi.
So I just wanted to share an idea, something we're doing this fall at Wisconsin. Just we're calling it an Ed Talk night, and grad students submit proposals to give their own TED Talk style, and we're kind of holding it as a networking event too, so grad students can get to know each other within the department, but the theme is all around social context of education. So it's been really neat to see some of the proposals come in and see the different topics from all departments across the School of Ed. So that was just an idea we're trying out. We have no idea how it will go, but wanted just to share.
Thank you so much. That's a great idea. And how selective are you in the application process?
Well, so we had 6 submissions. The deadline was on Sunday, so we're meeting this week to kind of determine who we will pick. We just did a Google form for a submission process, but depending on the length of them, we might just accept all of them. So.
That's great. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, so if no one has questions or comments or examples they want to share, I'm going to ask Evelyn and Sarah to type in their email addresses in the chat, and you can feel free to contact them with any questions that you have, or if anyone wants to have a specific flyer or example of a presentation that we've done.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy to share. Oh, there's a question.
Okay, there's a question from Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. He says, have you been able to connect with other colleagues' university CL teams, creating a regional network, or is it mostly within ASU?
That has been one of the goals that our advisor has pushed us towards, is to like, okay, think about U of A, think about NAU, think beyond ASU. ASU is kind of a huge powerhouse in terms of like the just size alone. So just, we haven't really branched out of ASU, but I think that is something that's important to look towards. And anybody who has ideas or different ways that they might be interested in approaching that, especially if anyone on the line is from, say, Southern California, Utah, Southwestern, New Mexico, anywhere in the region, that would be something really great, I think, to plan. We have not done that yet because we've been focusing on trying to unite the different campuses and we have an EDD program as well here at ASU. So one of the things we were trying to do was to make our events not only in the middle of the day, so that graduate students who are not full-time graduate students can also attend the events and participate. So that's a great idea, and something that we strive towards, but not something we've currently achieved.
And Jeremiah, that's something that we've talked a little bit about on the executive committee. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen yet, but we've talked a little bit about trying to work out a system where we can host events and allow people to link in through maybe Zoom or Skype or something else to different brown bags or events on a national level. There's a question from Aline. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm the CL for my cohort, my department, or the whole campus. Let's see. And then from, I think it's from Cassie. I may have missed this, but have you ever engaged undergrads in your work, service as CLs? You want to talk about either? I'm not sure about the second question.
So it says, I may have missed this, but have you ever engaged undergrads in our work and service? We haven't, right? Nope, we haven't. But I think that's something that we were thinking about, maybe as I mean, maybe it's a possibility, maybe I just imagined, but like one of our community events was going to involving some inviting high school students. So I think that if we ended up inviting high school students to come visit our campus, that would be a good opportunity to maybe engage or connect with some undergrads here at ASU. And I think it would be a good connection or mentoring situation. So it's just, those are just thoughts. And I hope that kind of answers the question, but no, the answer is no. If I am a campus liaison for my cohort, my department, or the whole campus, I think that we need to be officially registered, right? And I think this year I remember receiving something that asked me to register from Cassie, and I think Eric can tell us a little bit more about that. Last year, I didn't receive anything, so I'm not sure if we were officially registered, but I mean, I know I was, because I'd started the year before that, but I think if you joined last year, maybe, I don't remember seeing anything. So I think Cassie or Eric might be able to share more information about that.
Yeah, Aline, Cassie just said that we can send you that email.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Yeah, and I think they said they'll email you, but I think that if you're a campus liaison, it's for your entire campus. So it can, and it's up to the individual campus liaisons, and I don't know if I'm answering the question or not. It's up to the individual chapter how they approach that. If it's predominantly within your department, if you engage the whole campus, multiple campuses, even as Jeremiah suggested across, other universities as well. So I think starting small and simple is important too. So first engaging maybe your department or your college and then moving from there. But I believe that liaisons represent their university, right?
Mm-hmm. And here, Evelyn has entered her email into the chat, and Sarah's going to do the same. Does anyone else have any questions or comments or examples they'd like to share? Okay, everyone. So I don't see anything else coming through. We want to thank everyone for coming today. And please feel free to email Evelyn or Sarah. And we're also having virtual meetings in November. Good point, Cassie. That we're gonna be online 3 different days in November to answer questions as the Campus Liaison Subcommittee, to answer any questions or give comments or tips. In here,
I think we have one more question.
we have one more question. Alcione, is being a campus liaison just for a division or a whole AERA connection? Yeah, I can go into that a little bit. So the campus liaison program is specifically for the Division G. It is the Division G campus liaison program that's focused specifically on the social context of research. So it is for a specific division at AERA.
So to be one of the things that's important to tell new members that and every chapter can kind of have different parameters, but one thing we tell new members is that they do need to be an official campus liaison. They do need to be a member of AERA and a member of Division G. So those are kind of 2 of the components of being. And I know that different programs, I know when I was a first-year PhD student, they had like a deal and you could join for like half the normal student price. And so, when you sign up, you're able to join one division without any additional fees. So that's included in your membership. And so I selected Division G, and then I pay for like $5 or something for one additional division as well.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to remind everyone that there's another Division G webinar tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on education as an anti-colonial project. So please, if you have the time, please log in tomorrow. There was an email sent out today, and we'll also be on Twitter and Facebook. So please log in tomorrow if you have the time. And also the AERA Brown lecture is this Thursday with Dr. Alfredo Artiles. So please log in if you're available. All right, everyone, if no one else has questions or comments, we're gonna say thank you and sign off.
Thank you.
Thank you.